us that Lazarus Wilson could not still be here when we constantly see white men armed and be arrested and taken to Burger King doing mass killings. So as y'all judge black people and say he had a gun, know that white people walk away all the time with guns, with knives. So only thing we want to know, what happened to David? Because his family calls him David. And I want to personalize and humanize David, the black man who left, who's gone now, and his son doesn't have a father. Unfortunately, due to time, because we don't want to interrupt this beautiful, gentrified Wharf, notice we did it in the morning so that they make sure they have their lunchtime, because it's important to eat lunch at the Wharf. DC organizations call for police accountability and the end to police violence. Following recent brutal killing of Lazarus Wilson by police, DC organizations call for the end to racist policing and the firing of Jason Bagshaw. Washington, D.C., on July the 16th, 2022, Lazarus Wilson, 23, of Dumfries, Virginia, was shot and killed by an off-duty officer following an incident at the Wharf after 9 p.m. Saturday. Local organizations, activists, community members like Harriet's Wildest Dreams, Freedom Fighters DC, Community Shoulders, Defund the Police, Black Lives Matter DC, Concerned Citizens DC, Until Freedom DC, and Good Trouble Cooperative would join the Wilson family and friends to express outrage and call for answers about MPD's conduct in this brutal killing. The organization signed on to this press release are calling for answers to the following questions. We're calling for answers to the following questions. Why did Jason Bagshaw use deadly force against Lazarus Wilson? Why was Jason Bagshaw not given a blood alcohol test when off-duty police in DC should not carry their badge, identification, service firearms, or any other firearm at social events where alcohol is served? Were there any other parties that was involved that fired a gun? How many gun shell cases were retrieved from the shooting? Did Jason Bagshaw violate orders by pursuing Wilson and find his weapon, instantly killing him? Instantly killing him. Did Jason Bagshaw consume alcohol that evening? Did Jason Bagshaw identify himself as an MPD officer? Did Bagshaw give any commands before firing his weapon? I was making sure that wasn't a rat. How many times did Jason Bagshaw shoot Lazarus Wilson? Where did Jason Bagshaw bullets impact Wilson? On his body. Why wasn't Wilson given first aid immediately by MPD? Where are the CCTV video that can show transparency, accountability of the shooting? Where are the CCTV videos that can show transparency, accountability of the shooting? I want to be very clear. There's a camera. Camera's all over there. Look, y'all. The Wharf is truly surveilled. I just want to acknowledge that we can, the community, see what happened to David the night he was killed by Jason Bagshaw. Has Jason Bagshaw ever used unreasonable force as an officer with the DC Metropolitan Police Department? Now, I want y'all to be clear. That's very important. Has Jason Bagshaw ever used unreasonable force as an officer with the DC Metropolitan Police Department? Given the failure of the MPD to provide these answers to the public, to these basic questions, these local organizations are in full solidarity and support with with Lazarus Wilson family and friends, and calling for an independent Department of Justice investigation into his death. We are calling for a full investigation on Commander Jason Bagshaw, with incidents where police brutality and violence occurred under his leadership at MPD. We are calling for the firing of Jason Bagshaw. We are demanding that all body cam footage, including CCTV footage from the restaurants and Wharf, that can show full transparency around the police shooting of Lazarus Wilson, be released to the public. 2 CCTV videos were released that day to fit MPD narrative of the story that day. So don't tell us that the CCTV video is not here because they gave y'all 2. That was not body cam footage. We're asking for all CCTV video. We want to know what happened to David that day. Release all tapes. Release all videos. Let's find out what happened to David. 2 things could be true. David had a gun that day, and David could still be here. For centuries, state-sanctioned violence against Black people have been condoned by our society and our elected officials. This must end. This must end. We are calling for the transformation of policing in our society so that it no longer serves as an agent of anti-Black racism, and so that Black people are no longer targeted, harassed, and murdered by police. Who's involved with this? Harris Riders Dreams, Freedom Fighters DC, Defund MPD, Black Lives Matter DC, Concerned Citizens DC, Until Freedom DC, Good Trouble Cooperative, Malcolm X Grassroots DC, Claudia Jones School, Heal the Homies, Sunrise DC, Shut It Down DC, All Out DC. While we're doing this, Lazarus Wilson, 23 of Dumfries, Virginia, was shot and killed by this off-duty officer following an incident at this wharf. This conference will hold the DC Police Department and Mayor Bowser accountable for this outrage act of violence and a call for an end to racist policing and police violence. Unfortunately, due to rush and us trying to get off the wharf in time so that we won't be targeted as Black people and arrested, I left the press conference's papers directly, the hard copies, in my car because I rode down with another comrade. But we would definitely email the press statement to our press list when we finish the press conference. And so at this time, I'm going to call my co-conductor, Kiana Johnson, who does our legal empowerment for Harris Riders Dreams Pillar. And she's going to tell you who Harris Riders Dreams is and the work that we do. My name is NeeteeTaylor. I'm the founder and executive director and co-conductor of Harris Riders Dreams. Nene, K, Nee, with the knee without the K. Nada Washington. You can ask me questions after everybody speak. Unless it's something you need to know about me personally.
I just know we're about to take the press conference live, and if anybody is tuning into the news right now, if there's anything specific you want to make sure they heard this morning before we're able to.
Yes, that's cool. But what you can tell them is that 2 things could be true. That Lazarus Wilson could have had a gun, and Lazarus Wilson could still be here. And so with that being said, we're here. We're here. While you're alive, the reason that we're here is because DC organizations is calling for police accountability and an end to police violence following the recent brutal killing of Lazarus Wilson by police. DC organizations call for the end to racist policing and the firing of Jason Bagshaw. We're calling for full transparency in that these videos, that we see the pictures. We see the pictures. I'm working close with the family. Witnesses have reached out to Harris Riders Dreams, but I shouldn't have to be the investigator of this. I shouldn't have to be the investigator. I don't get paid to investigate. Other people get paid to investigate. But due to the close relationship of the Wharf with the chief of police, who's the security person of this Wharf, who has the security, is a concern. So this whole investigation, we want it moved from the MPD being investigated. Kiana.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out to our press conference today as we demand full transparency in the death of Lazarus Wilson, also affectionately known as David. We are here. I am with Harriet's Wildest Dreams. My name is Kiana Johnson, and I'm a co-conductor with Harriet's Wildest Dreams. Harriet's Wildest Dreams is a Black abolitionist community defense hub, and we are centering the lives of Black people that are most at risk for state-sanctioned violence in the greater Washington area. Our work is centered around legal empowerment, political and civic engagement, mass protests, organizing, and campaigns that provides and builds alternatives to our carceral system. And so in that vein, it is our duty to actually find out and have full transparency to find out what happened to Lazarus, a Black young father that day here at the Wharf when he was murdered at the hands of Jason Bagshaw. This is nothing new to the residents of DC, right? This is nothing new to MPD. MPD has been violently and overly policing our neighborhoods for a long time now. And at Harriet's Wildest Dreams, what we are here to do is to make sure that they are held accountable, right? Lazarus should be here today, be able to go to court. Lazarus should be here today and able to go to court and able to have his day in court around him allegedly having a gun here on the wharf that day. Instead, the life was taken from him by Jason Bagshaw. And Jason is not the only person who engages in this type of activity and behavior. We also have Terrence Sutton, who killed Kyron Hilton, who is in courts right now going through his case, but he is at home and not in jail. He's not at the jail. He's actually at home awaiting trial. And so what we are doing at Harriet's Wildest Dreams is that we are conducting court support. We actually have to leave this press conference and head over to support Ms. Weems for her court case as well, because we are here to let the community know that we are going to help you to be able to navigate this very cruel system that is completely taking our people out. And so we want to have, and we demand that the life of Lazarus Wilson, affectionately known as David, be his life mattered. And so I want to thank you very much for being here. Again, my name is Kiana Johnson, and I'm with Harriet's Wildest Dreams. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alexis Harper, and I come representing the Washington Revolutionary, a local abolitionist opinion and news zine. First and foremost, I want to uplift the demands of Lazarus Wilson's family and friends in demanding full transparency and surveillance video surrounding the conditions of his killing on June 16th of 2022. We are here to demand transparency. We are here to have the entire story provided to everyone. As an independent news source, we understand that police reports can often be false or proven lacking. This is true in the cases of national stories like the Uvalde shooting. This is true in more local cases like the killing of Antoine Gilmore in Northeast DC last year, in which police reports were proven to be false or lacking, which is why we are demanding full surveillance footage, which is why we are demanding all the tapes possible so we know what happened. I also want to reiterate the fact that, yes, although the images released thus far do prove that Lazarus Wilson was holding a gun, we have seen time and time and time again violent, active mass shooters taken in alive if and only if they are white. We are asking why this happened, if de-escalation was possible, and we are also asking that that Lazarus Wilson does not become a sacrifice to the narrative of the crime wave, to the narrative that more aggressive and more violent policing reduces crime. Because as we can see, police forces have more money now than they ever did. Yet we are still suffering from gun violence. We are still suffering from carjackings. We are still suffering from every kind of rape, murder, and robbery more than ever before, with more funding, with more military surplus weaponry than the police have ever had. So we know that violence begets more violence. And that's what this case has proven, that violent policing that aggressive policing does not reduce crime. And we are not going to allow Lazarus Wilson's story to be spun into this disproven narrative that the only way to have so-called law and order is to hunt down Black men like they are 19th century slaves. We are not going to allow that to happen. That's why I want to repeat and uplift the demands of full surveillance footage, full CCTV, and a change in the narrative and a change in the consciousness that although he had a gun, as Nini said, he could still be alive, because we've seen it happen time and time again if the shooter was white. And I'm sorry, if the accused was white, because he was not a shooter. I apologize for that. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Faye, and I'm here with the Good Trouble Co-op. Faye, spelled F-A-E, like Bay with an F. I am here with the Good Trouble Co-op in reverence for the killing of Lazarus Wilson, known affectionately as David. We are here because we understand that this is not a coincidence. This is not a mistake. This is a systemic issue that has been plaguing Black and over-policed communities since the creation of this country. For those people who have never known what true freedom looks like, we understand that this is not an individual issue, and that is one of the lies of this country, of capitalism, is to make us feel as though this issue is because he had a gun. This issue is because he was acting violently. This issue is because this Black person was not acting within these certain respectability politics. That is not the issue. The issue is communal. The issue is systemic. The issue is with the way that we criminalize Black and brown communities. We understand that slavery has not been abolished, but transformed into the carceral system, into the prison industrial system, into these policing systems. And Lazarus Wilson is only the most recent victim of these violent systems that seek to undermine our communities. And so once again, as we're talking about Lazarus Wilson, who was killed by an off-duty police officer, Jason Bagshaw, who is known for his extensive violence, not only against DC residents, but against uprising protesters all throughout 2020 who were fighting for Black lives. We understand this is a systemic issue. And accordingly, we ask for a systemic response. We ask for Jason Bagshaw to be fired. We ask for all of the footage to not only be released to those folks who are doing the investigation, but to the public, so that rather than getting misconstrued stories of what happened that day in efforts to protect MPD and Jason Bagshaw's name, we get the truth. And we get to see the way that this country actually treats Black people for ourselves in this nation's capital, Chocolate City. And so I'm Faye with the Good Trouble Co-op. Thank you all for tuning in. Just want to uplift the demands that we want Jason Bagshaw fired. We want all CCTV released, and we want full transparency and accountability around the killing of Lazarus Wilson. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Neff. I am a co-founder of Until Freedom DC. And I am here to express that Lazarus David Wilson is not meant to be another martyr. I know that he was not here to be killed and grieved and mourned in the manner that is happening today. I was at the vigil for him this month, and the dozens of people that I saw that came out in support of him, the words that I heard about him, I wish some of those people were here to really give you a true scope of who this person was, and what type of life that Jason Bagshaw has taken away, and what type of complicitness these businesses that have all of these cameras up and down this gentrified wharf are committing by not releasing the tapes. Until Freedom DC is here to say, please release the tapes, point blank period, and fire Jason Bagshaw. This is not the first time that Jason Bagshaw has shown any sort of violence to the public. And this is not the first or the last time. Honestly, I won't even be surprised if Jason Bagshaw gets fired and gets hired somewhere else, because the system that we currently have continues to place these police in abusive power structures. Literally, the ex-police chief, Newsham, is now working as police chief down in Prince William. It's ironic. It's not funny, but it is how quite literally corrupt the system is. You can quite see, if you don't believe the words that are coming out of all of these organizers' mouths about Jason Bagshaw, you can go onto Twitter, look up his name, and see a whole campaign done by multitudes of us. Seeing him throw people, abuse people verbally, arrest people with excessive force. This is not the first time. Unfortunately, and something that is, for me, quite unfortunately poetic, is that Jason Bagshaw was not even working. Do you know how much privilege you have to really feel like you have to do your job to the extent of killing someone when you're off duty? And from what I hear, possibly in front of your own damn family? It's stupid. You didn't sit here and think about anybody else's family, David's family, when this action was committed. By these cameras not being released, by these tapes not being released, y'all are quite literally saying that you don't even care about trying to find an inkling of justice because you think that justice has been served. And that's exactly the problem with this system. Kyle Rittenhouse has quite literally killed, been arrested, gone through trial, and released before any Black man. I can name multitudes, but today, right now, is about David. Before David got even a consideration, an inkling that his life should be saved. You can have a gun and you can still be taken in. Black people deserve to live. I'm tired of saying that Black Lives Matter. It's deeper than Black Lives Mattering. Once again, my name is Neff. And the ask that we have at Until Freedom DC is that these businesses release the tapes. If you're going to gentrify and take over quite literally a staple in the Black community and kill a Black person on these grounds where so many Black people have worked, quite literally worked still as service people, if you can't show an inkling of respect by just releasing the tapes or firing Bagshaw, I don't know what else or where else we can start. So I ask that you all start there. Thank you.
Well, hi. Okay. My name is Afeni. I'm a co-organizer with Freedom Fighters DC. And I just want to start by saying that police brutality is gun violence. I feel like so many times we talk about gun violence and we only talk about the gun violence we see in our streets and in our neighborhoods, but we don't talk about the epidemic of police gun violence. There are so many Black people that get shot by the police for way less than what some of these mass murderers have been shot by the police for. Or taken, not even shot, just taken in. Officers like Jason Bagshaw police in DC every single day. And the Black residents especially feel that because they are 87% of the people that MPD arrests. So this is not about, trying to just target this one person, but it's about the fact that Jason Bagshaw is a commanding officer of MPD. So the fish rots from the head. So if this type of violent police officer can continue to work for like almost a decade or more now with the MPD, with the kind of record that he has, with the type of abuse and brutality that he has constantly displayed, then what are the rank and file officers doing down in Southeast and across east of the river? This is clearly indicative of what type of policing MPD does every single day. And as somebody who has been, fighting for and advocating for these communities, I advocate for real sustainable safety. As we can see, the police do not keep us safe, period. In this situation, a Black man lost his life for having a gun and never firing a shot. But yet, there are mass murderers that can kill, literally, like children. People that can shoot up parades and walk away. So if they can have that much deference for those people's lives, and they need to have that deference for our lives. People are allowed to bear guns in this country. That is the law. It is our Second Amendment right. So if he had a gun, that's not a reason to kill him, period. Far too often, police officers use excessive deadly force against Black people. So why was he killed, other than the fact that he was Black and had a gun at the same time? We have seen time and time again that having a gun and even firing it is not enough for somebody to lose their life if they are white. We need to move away from systems of violence to maintain safe streets because it has not been working at all. And if Jason Bagshaw is allowed to keep his job, it'll be a signal to police officers in this city that already use excessive force, that already abuse and terrorize Black residents in DC, that they are allowed to shoot whoever they want. And you can ask Terrence Sterling's family, you can ask Deon Kay's family, what it looks like to not get justice in this city. In a city where MPD gets paid $600 million per year in tax dollars to keep these streets safe, these families still do not have justice. These families still do not have any accountability for the loss of their family members' lives. So we are demanding accountability in this, because this is not just about letting people run free and do whatever they want, because police officers have been able to do that. And we are asking now that we finally hold them accountable, just like we hold every other worker accountable in this country.
Thank y'all. Because sorry about that, but I was talking to a very important person here who's going to help me with this situation, and I want to thank her for understanding that the community and press should be able to have a voice and not shut down. And so I also want to thank Lazarus' brother, D'Angelo, for being out here, because, we standing in solidarity, and him and his mom and his sisters, they want answers. They want to know, he want to know, because he's here. Could his brother still be here, right? And I think they have a right to those answers. The community think they have a right to those answers. And with that being said, the community have spoken about what went on, and we don't want to cover up, right? We said what happened, and we want to know if Jason Bagshaw once again showed up in an unethical way, an unprofessional way, right? That's all we want. We want questions. We have questions, and we want answers. Mama, can't you see? What the system do to me? They lock us up, they shoot us down. Ain't no justice in this town.
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 Papa, can't you see?
Papa, can't you see?
What the system do to me?
What the system do to me?
They lock us up, they shoot us down.
Lock us up, they shoot us down.
Ain't no justice in this town.
There ain't no justice in this town.
Ancestors, can't you see?
Ancestors, can't you see?
What the system do to me?
What the system do to me?
They lock us up, they shoot us down.
Lock us up, they shoot us down.
Ain't no justice in this town.
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 Thank you all for coming out. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. We could take questions. Questions to anybody who want questions from anybody. I think we said it all. I don't even think y'all need answers. Look at there. Ashe.